Welcome back. This is Iron Man here, old school Iron Man. Zooming out, we got shapes. We got spheres, we got cylinders. Alright, we got cubes. I like that the characters talk you through it here. The Submariner, I mean. Namor. That's Namor, not Namor. Now let's get a little heavier. Even spheres, cubes, and cylinders can use some embellishment. And that is why we add shading, black tones, to reinforce the feeling of dimension. Notice how the use of shading immediately gives the objects a sense of solidity. They seem to have depth, roundness, and mass. See that where the lighting's coming from, behind, or in the front there, and so the shade, or so the shade's going to be behind there. So the light's over there, the light's down here, hitting that. Same with the cylinders. Light's coming from up there. I'm not sure where the lights, maybe the light's, oh, the light's coming from over here, hitting that. That's why that's in darkness. Here's the thing. Talking about, okay, it's time to start putting it all together in a picture. So what are you waiting for? Turn the page, oh potential producer of phantasmagoric picture panels. Well, the reason why I'm going over this is that it ties into one of my last videos about the cylinder in the human figure. And they talk about, this is chapter, I think this might be chapter 1 or 2. Yeah, chapter 2. And you can see here how Jack Kirby this is. All these different, although this is Bushima. I almost said Bushimi. It's very Jack Kirby-ian. And all the different shapes, that's why they come into play when you're drawing comics, because you might want to draw some machinery that's sci-fi. Secrets of form, making an object look real. Anyone, even you or I, can draw some sort of circle or square. But how do we make it look like the real thing? How do we make a reader feel as if he can just reach out and touch it? How do we stop it from just lying there, flat and one-dimensional on the page? How do we give it length? Pretty easy. Width, not hard. And depth, this is the tough one. In short, how do we give it the proper form? Now that we've bothered to ask, let's see how Big John can help us find the answers. And it goes into the shapes a bit, which I'm gonna leave that for a future video. Perspective, look at that chair, 2-point perspective. Vanishing point there, vanishing point on the other side. You know, the different cylinders right there, different shapes. Cylinder in a plane. But this is what I really wanted to touch on, was this. As promised, let's see how what we've learned relates to the human figure in this quick sketch of Daredevil. Notice he has cubes for a rib cage and hip area, while cylinders form the basic construction of his arms and legs. Even the little bend around his thigh follows the form of a cylinder. Okay, cylinder, curved cylinder. Alright, gets skinnier as it gets closer to the knee. And those are like the upside down bowling pins for the shin and calf. Alright, there it is. Cylinder. Kind of big right there. There's my pencil. Kind of big right there, and then it gets a little smaller. And this point, he made it a little bit bigger right here. And again, you're moving these objects around in 3D. So if you can draw objects in different kind of angles, like a camera's looking at them, there's probably computer programs that can do that, where you can just practice drawing the angle that the cylinder would be facing. I recommend you look those up if you need to, or just do it the old-fashioned way. This pen, look at the different angles this pen can do when facing the camera. You can draw it like that. Great way to practice cylinders is by practicing drawing a pen or a pencil. Different angles like that. Like that. And then before you know it, you're drawing the arm at similar angles, and you'll understand where it needs to go for shortening. Then it gets filled in a little bit more. Again, that's why you keep it light, so you can fill in the muscles, connect the knees to the calf and the shin. The same goes for faces. This one is also based upon a cylinder, which has been cut off at the sides. See? It's vision. Notice the cross that I always recommend you do when you're doing the face for the brow, and one come down the middle. And then you can kind of feel it out for the nose, and then the mouth is going to be like a 1/2 inch from the bottom of the nose, and then more room for the chin. And that comes with practice, really. Maybe I could go over some rules for that, drawing the face a bit more. Below, on the left side of the page, you'll see 2 typical panels done in the Marvel style. Next to them, to the right, we've attempted to demonstrate what we've been saying in the past few pages. The top drawing is obviously composed of a sphere plus a number of cylinders with a cube on the bottom. The other panel depicts a flying car which, despite its unique and oddball shape, is nevertheless still based on our good old cube. Somewhat modified, to be sure. There's the sphere. Yeah, and then there's the cube he was talking about on the bottom. Very Jack Kirby-ish. The important thing about all this is to train you to think in terms of spheres, cubes, and cylinders whenever you see or draw any object. Once it becomes a habit with you, you'll find your drawings will begin to assume the proper form, which seems to make them come alive. So there you go. Probably the next video, I'll go a little bit more into shapes, spheres. 10 seconds a day. Practice spheres. Practice drawing pens at different angles for your 10-second practice this week. Thanks for watching.